What's up, you guys? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a very special video for you here. We're going to talk about the financial breakdown of whether you should buy or rent when making your move here to Salt Lake City. Here on this channel, I talk about everything you need to know when it comes to working, eating, sleeping, living, and playing here along the Wasatch Front. And this is a very special video for you here. I've got all the numbers here on my computer. We're gonna look at a spreadsheet together. This is gonna be an analytical breakdown of the pros and cons to buying and renting to help you make the decision on what's the better choice for yourself. Now, all that being said, you might say, hey, well, Cody, you're a real estate agent. Of course, you're gonna tell me that buying is better just because you want the business. And well, yeah, I'd love to help you do that, but I'm gonna tell you that, for most people, 9 times out of 10, buying is the better option. And I want this data here on my computer to show that to you. I don't want it to be just my word. I want to actually show you why I believe that's the right answer. Even if you don't end up working with me during your move here to Salt Lake City, I still think this is a better option and I just wish you the best. But with all that being said, I mean, hey, if you're watching this video, you might be interested in working with me. If you are and you're thinking about making that move here to Salt Lake City, make sure to get in touch with me. I've had people from all across the world reach out saying, hey, Cody, I'm moving to Salt Lake. What do I need to do? What do I need to know? How can you help me? And I absolutely love it when you guys reach out. Call me, text me, or email me anytime. My information's here on the screen. I absolutely love hearing from you guys. And like I said, I've helped people from all across the world, so I can't wait to hear from you as well. Now, with all that being said, let's jump right into the computer here together and take a look at these numbers and talk about it as we go. All right, so jumping into the spreadsheet here, we're gonna walk through this together. It's a little bit confusing. There's a lot of numbers on here, but just stick with me. We're gonna break it down very easy for you so you can kind of see how these numbers play out. Now, for this example, we're going to be looking at what it takes to buy a home in the $600,000 price range. I felt like that was a fairly, median price to kind of capture people who might be below that, but also capture people who might be looking in a range above that. The numbers are going to hold true whether you go down in price or you go up in price, so it's not going to change that much. There will be some variations, but I just thought, hey, this is going to be a good number to kind of capture a fair picture at what this actually looks like, right? So as you can see here as well, we're looking at a down payment. We're going to look at 2 different down payment options, 5% down and 20% down. Then we're going to look at the loan amount and the payment with taxes, property insurance, and PMI for the 5% down payment. So looking at this, you can see we've got the purchase price here at $600,000. We've got our 2 down payment options, $30,000 versus $120,000. Depending on your situation, you can do both. If you put more money down, you're gonna have a lower payment, but that does mean that you have to have that money initially, and then you're gonna put it into your house where it's kind of tied up and you can't really do much with it. Whether or not you should go with 5 or 20% down, that's kind of a discussion for another video. There are some instances where, it might make sense to do one or the other. So it just kind of depends. If we move over here to the loan amount and the interest rate, if you put $30,000 down, of course, you're gonna have a $570,000 loan amount, and we're assuming a 2.875% interest rate, which is the par rate or the market rate for what we're seeing in the market here today at the end of December. And the next column, if you put $120,000 down, you're looking at a loan amount of $480,000, again at that same interest rate. There might be some variations in the interest rate depending on your credit, your financial profile, the lending limits at that time. So we're just gonna make it easy here. We're trying to round numbers just to keep everything smooth and simple to understand for the basis of this example. Now, looking at the payment amounts with taxes, property and insurance, and the PMI, for this 5% down payment, you've got a payment amount per month of $2,850, roughly, give or take. It is rounded just slightly, but roughly $2,850. If you do 20% down, you're looking at a payment of $2,300 per month. All right, now if we zoom out just a little bit and come down here and look at the principal pay down, what are you going to pay down on your loan every single month when you make that payment? Well, if you do 5% down, you're going to pay down your principal $1,000 per month. This is basically where it starts out at. So $1,000 per month, every single time you make that payment, you're taking $1,000 off of your loan. If you do 20% down, it's only $841. Now you might be looking at this and say, well, why is it lower if it's 20%? Well, it's because your overall payment is lower. Remember that you're only paying $841 because you have a lower overall payment of $2,300 versus $2,850. So less is going towards principal, but less is also going towards interest. And that means that less is coming out of your pocket every month for the total amount. So if we look at this over the next 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years, you can see that over the next 5 years, you're going to pay down your loan of, on the 5% option, $60,000. If we look at 10 years, it's going to be $120,000. If we look at 15 years, it's over $180,000. If we look at this for the 20% option, you've got $50,000 here, $100,000, and $151,000 over the next 15 years. Now, the thing I want to point out here is that it's actually more because of the amortization of the loan. It increases each month. The way that these loans are set up is when you make your payment every single month, you're going to pay less towards principal and more towards interest. But as you make a payment each month, the amount that goes towards the principal goes up and the amount that goes towards the interest goes down. So you're actually paying a little bit more towards principal each and every month. So this, even though it says 60,000, it's probably going to be like 61,000. This says 120, it's probably like 123, 125, somewhere in there. 15 years, it's going to be close to 200, probably over 200,000 by 15 years. But again, just to keep it simple, we're using very conservative numbers here. All right, now let's take a look at the appreciation, and stick with me because I know we're getting into some deep numbers here. We're going to take a look at the rents. We're going to look at that as well. And I think these are some numbers that you're actually going to want to see. As we move forward in this, thank you guys for the thumbs up here on the video. If you're enjoying this content so far, give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm, and it really helps support the channel, and I really appreciate your support. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play here along the Wasatch Front. You want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you get notified when I release new videos just like this one. All right, jumping back here to appreciation. We are expecting that the appreciation of the property will go up roughly 3% per year. Now, to be honest with you, here in Salt Lake, we are seeing much higher rates of appreciation over the past couple of years, which may or may not continue, right? Nobody really knows, but when you look at it from a long-term perspective, we're kind of expecting appreciation to go up 3% per year. That's kind of a safe number. Yes, it will go up higher than that some years. Other years, it might go down, right? You might lose 10% in a year. During the Great Recession, I think some years it was down like 10, 12%, somewhere in there. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it will go down. But when you look at it over like a 30-year, 40-year, 50-year time span, you're looking at roughly 3% appreciation. So that's kind of what we'd like to use in the real estate industry, just to give you a fair number that you can kind of safely plan on. So again, looking at the appreciation, this $600,000 property in 5 years is going to be worth $696,000. In 10 years, it's worth $806,000, and in 15 years, it's worth $935,000. Now, I did round this to the nearest thousand, again, just to keep the numbers easy. But I mean, look at this, guys. This is crazy. $600,000 in 15 years, your house is worth $935,000. That's pretty crazy. You know, looking at $600,000 houses, you know, and saying to yourself, man, this house is going to be worth almost $1 million in 15 years. It's a little hard to say when you're like, man, that's what I get for my money, right? But when you look at it on a long-term basis, this is kind of what we're expecting. Okay, now with that being said, I want to add in this little part here. In 180 months of owning the home, let's say you've owned it for 15 years, you have been there for 180 months, you've made 180 payments. Just in the appreciation alone, you're gaining $1,860 a month just for owning the home. And your payment stays the same. Your payment never goes up, assuming you never refinance, or, you know, is it good? Okay, taxes and insurance might cause your payment to go up a little bit, you know, because generally over time those will go up as well. But the actual amount you're paying towards your loan is not going to change. It's going to stay the same over this time period. So looking at that and saying, man, just for owning this home for one more month, I just made $1,800. And then one more month after that, I just made another $1,800. So you can look at the appreciation in this, and this is pretty insane. When we get to the rental numbers, you're going to see how crazy these numbers are. And it's really going to give you a breakdown of why buying a home in most cases is actually better than renting. All right, now before we get to the rent numbers, let's actually take a look at this one last thing here, maintenance. You are gonna have some maintenance on the home, right? If you're renting the house, you're not gonna have maintenance. You're not gonna have to like repair stuff or take care of the sink when it's leaking or take care of the roof when it needs to be replaced. That is one of the benefits to renting, sure. But you know, when it comes to owning a home, you are gonna have to pay for those maintenance items. And so I did wanna put this in here because I know there's gonna be that one person who's like, you didn't include that. And so I did wanna put that in here just at the last minute. I'm assuming $200 a month, right? Some months you're not gonna have any maintenance. Other months you're gonna have bigger items. You know, you might have the furnace that you need to replace. It might be the water heater, it might be the roof. And so I'm just assuming kind of a $200 a month maintenance fee, which I think is a pretty fair number for this. Sure, with inflation, it might go up over time, but again, we're just using round numbers. I'm just trying to give you the basic idea of this so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. So over 1 year, over 5 years, you're going to be $12,000 in maintenance, 10 years, $24,000, 15 years, $36,000. Now, this is the part that's really important. You had $335,000 in appreciation minus your maintenance cost of $36,000 gives you a rough profit of $299,000 just for owning the home. This doesn't take into account the principal pay down because we're just looking at appreciation versus the maintenance of it, because when you make your principal pay down, you're actually paying back debt that you have, and some of that goes towards taxes and insurance, which is not your money. It doesn't come back to you, I should say. So, I mean, looking at this, man, over 15 years, $300,000 profit, that's pretty dang good, right? That's like, I don't know, what is that? That's $300,000 divided by 15 years. That's $20,000 a year in profit that you're getting just for owning the home, basically. So you can see why buying is so powerful. Now let's talk about rent. Rent for a home like this, you're looking at probably about $3,000 a month for an equivalent home. A home that would sell for $600,000 on the market is going to rent for somewhere around $3,000. There might be some homes that rent for less. There might be some homes that rent for more. But again, just for rough numbers, we're going to say $3,000. Rent is also going to increase at roughly 3% per year. As appreciation on the homes go up, so does the rent increase, and you're also going to see inflation, right? So the cool thing with inflation is as you earn more money in the future, your loan payment never changes. So it actually becomes easier and cheaper to pay that loan, whereas when it comes to rent, you're paying more and more every single year. So 3% per year on the rent increase. The first year, it's going to cost you $3,000 a month. After 5 years, you're looking at $34.77 per month, 10 years, over $4,000, and in 15 years, you're paying over $4,600 a month in rent for the same home. Remember, in 15 years, you're paying $4,600, whereas if we come back up here, look at these other ones, I did it in blue so we can kind of compare it easily. You're looking at either $2,800, $2,850, or $2,300. That's a huge gap there. I mean, that's over $2,000 a month in gap for the rent between these two items. Coming back down here, look at the total paid that is down the drain. First year, you're paying $36,000. Just in year 5, you're gonna pay $41,000. Year 10, you're gonna pay $48,000. Year 15, you're paying $56,000 down the drain and not getting anything back for it other than just a place to live. Now, that kind of wraps up our chart here, guys. I want to take a look at the overall picture just to show you what we're looking at here. And I hope this kind of gives you an idea of why I think it's better to buy a home as opposed to rent. Yes, there are pros and cons to both. I know that one of the arguments is going to be, well, hey, I don't know where I want to live. I don't know if that's the house I'm going to want to be in. I don't know if the schools are good. I don't know if there's high crime there. I don't know this. I don't know that. And that's a fair argument, right? That's a very fair argument, especially when you're moving to a new area. Perhaps renting just for a couple months might be the better option. You know, if you're just kind of really risk averse and you just want to be conservative and, you know, not get into something long term, I think that's a fair argument, right? I'm not going to deny that. I think there are some benefits to doing that for the short term. However, you should look at trying to buy a home as soon as possible. You want to make sure you're looking at buying a home because of these numbers. I mean, just look at the power of this, guys. You can really see how buying a home is going to benefit you in the long run. The other thing I want to say is that some people will say, well, I don't want to be tied down. What if I have to move out of state again? What if I have to move here, move there, whatever? Well, okay, just take your home that you bought and turn it into a rental property. You know, same thing. If you end up in an area when you make your move here and you're not too happy with the schools there, or you've got a bad neighbor, or, you know, you want to live closer to the mountains, or whatever the case may be, okay, that's fine. Take your home, turn it into a rental property, let it build long-term wealth for you, and use it as a retirement vehicle. Again, if we look back at this, I mean, you can see that your payment here, let's say you put 20% down, your payment's gonna be $2,300 a month. For rent, you're gonna be $3,000 a month, bringing in $3,000 a month in rent, and you're paying out $2,300. Now, you're gonna have some expenses, right? Property manager, some maintenance, some other things, right? Like that. So you might only cash flow like a couple $100 that first year. But, you know, as time goes on, let's say you're 10 years down the road, now you're bringing in $4,000 a year, $4,000 a month in rental income, and you're paying that payment of $2,300. Now you're cash flowing $1,000 a month. You're still getting the appreciation, so your property is still going up in value. You're still paying down the property every single month, every time you make that payment, and I mean, guys, I don't want to beat this to death. I feel like I've rambled on enough about the power of buying, but I wanted to give you this financial breakdown. We'll just kind of end the video right here. I wanted to give you this financial breakdown so you can see for yourself the power of buying versus renting. Like I said, I think that for 9 out of 10 people, buying is the better option. If you're only going to be here for 6 months, or you're like, hey, I can't decide between Salt Lake City and Denver, and you want to kind of test out both, maybe just come here and rent for a couple months. Like, that's totally cool. Like I said, I would love to help you buy a house, but if it's not the right decision for you, then it's not. But when it comes to like a financial analysis, there's really no denying that over the long term, buying a home is going to be the better decision for you. Even despite these numbers, even if I was high on some numbers, even if I left some stuff out, even if some of the numbers change, or appreciation is only 2%, or interest rates go up 0.5% or whatever, it's pretty strong. The evidence is clear that buying a home is going to be the better option for you in the long term. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video through to the end with me. If you enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up here on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And last but not least, make sure to get in touch with me. If you're making that move here to Salt Lake City, get in touch with me. Call me, text me, or email me anytime. My information's here on the screen. I love it when you guys reach out, and I can't wait to hear from you as well. I mean, when people reach out, I just get so excited because I love sharing this state with, other people. I love sharing what we have to offer here, and love seeing people come in and just have such a good time after making that move here. I've helped people from all across the world, and I can't wait to help you as well. So with that being said, guys, get in touch with me, and I will catch you in the next one.